So hi all, again welcome to the webinar on AngularJS. So my name is Jinto Jose. So let me give a small introduction about myself. So I've been in the web development for almost 7 years, more than 7 years. So I've been working on different JavaScript frameworks like Backbone.js, Node.js, and also HTML5 features like WebRTC and all. I've also contributing to the open source, and I've been working on AngularJS for last 2 years. So, and I'm doing the working as a mentor also to the Cadgil. So that's about me. So okay, let me give a little introduction about Acadgil. So Acadgil is an education startup. So it's started by IIT alumnus, IIT and IIM alumnus. So basically, its aim is to give like job ready skills for the college students and graduates. So basically, the way we are following is like mostly the um, hands-on, and it's kind of a mentoring rather than just spoon feeding or just a theory class. It will be more the hands-on, and it's a mentoring. So you will be fully working on some projects and all, and you will be helping and with the guidance, and so that way you will be able to get the real idea on what exactly when you are working in a real project in a company. So that's how Acadgil courses are there. So there are different courses available with Acadgil. You can see front-end development, Android. So in that, today we are going to cover the AngularJS. So our aim today, the plan of today's webinar is, so I'll be giving a little introduction about AngularJS. So AngularJS is now a popular framework, very popular framework, and there are a lot of things about Angular to learn. But we may not be able to cover everything, but there will be a little introduction. And the application we are covering is a sample application which covers or showcases most of the features of AngularJS. So a little bit brief about the application, and then we'll be going through a little bit the structure, how it is the application is going, how it is created, the basic structure, and then we will see how do we create an AngularJS, a very basic structure, how do we set up. So we will start with creating from the scratch a very basic thing, and then we will go through the finally once we get a basic idea, then we will go through the real application, employee portal application, and we will see how we are doing all this, what our components we are understanding in AngularJS, how we are using it in the real employee portal application. So that is the agenda of this webinar. So if you are clear on the agenda, I'm just going to start on AngularJS. So basically, AngularJS, if you come to AngularJS, what exactly is AngularJS is? So when you are starting on any front-end development in the sense when you're creating a website, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all this will come. So in when you are creating that, you have to work on a lot of like JavaScript. So JavaScript is a language which is needed for the client-side interaction. So client-side interaction in the sense, let's say you are taking an HTML page. In that HTML page, there might be a pop-up. Like when you're clicking on a button, you want to show an alert, or you want when you're typing something on the text box, or you can see Google. Google has a login text box and password is there. Then when you're clicking on sign in button, it's going somewhere, right? So that is an action. HTML as such is just a plain document. Like you can think of it as a Word file or a PDF. So HTML as such is just a PDF. You can see any page. If you see any page like this, it's just a document, right? So it's nothing more than that. It's just a document which is having several structure, styles, and all. But if you want to enable some functionality, so let's say I'm clicking on it, you can see some drop down is coming, or typing it's focusing. So some dynamicity is coming on the page. To enable the dynamic functionalities, you need a JavaScript. So JavaScript is a language which is directly understood by the browser, so that you don't have to compile, or you might have some idea on the other language like Java or .NET, which needs to be compiled finally so that the machine can understand, right? So there is a build process is there. But JavaScript is a language which is directly understood by the browser. So I am starting with the JavaScript because I don't know which who all are comfortable with JavaScript, because for understanding Angular, just a little bit idea on JavaScript is required. Okay, so let's say I'm just opening. Okay, or let me just show you here. So how a normal JavaScript looks like, I'm just showing you. So if I am clicking like putting like this, hello, okay, this is a JavaScript. So that means you are writing a JavaScript, and if you are putting in an HTML page, this program will be running, or this line will be executed. So this is, you don't have to, you can directly put it in an HTML file, which we will see in a minute. So you can directly put in HTML and it will be executed, right? So this is the context of JavaScript. Now coming to the Angular JS part. Coming to the Angular JS part. So the thing is like, now more and more functionalities you are adding in in the client side or in the JavaScript side, because you can see a lot of applications are coming up now, right? For example, Gmail. Gmail, you can see when you're clicking on the left side, you can see a mail is coming on the right side, and lot of interactions happening. So that is a, in a single page, lot of things are happening, correct? So if I'm clicking here, you can see on the right side so many things happening. So that means you need to write lot of code in the JavaScript side or in the HTML side. When you start writing lot of code in the HTML side, you need to structure it somewhere, right? Otherwise, if you are working in a project where a lot of people are working, so 10 people are working, and if you keep on adding some code like that, so then the new people coming, it will be very difficult for them to understand where the code is, how to change it. So you need some kind of a structuring, right? In any language, it is not only for JavaScript. In any language, you need some kind of a structuring. So for that structuring only, so for example, .NET has ASP.NET MVC is there, right? Same way, for that structuring, in client side JavaScript side, we have frameworks available. So several JavaScript frameworks are available. This is the main purpose is for structuring so that it is easy to maintain. Okay. You are not able to hear. No one is able to hear. I'm seeing some comments that no sound is coming. Okay. Okay, cool. So the structuring is, so JavaScript frameworks are used for the structuring. Okay. So now there are a lot of frameworks are available. That is frameworks like Backbone JS. I'm giving you some name you might have heard of or you might not have. So React JS. And like that, there is the one popular framework is Angular JS. So Angular JS, how and why it is all, we'll just see. So this is also one of the frameworks which allows you to, or enables you to structure your application, so you can easily create a complete application with a good structure. So it's a maintainable application. Okay. So Angular JS has some basic things are there. So this is actually kind of an MVC pattern. So you might have heard of MVC pattern. MVC is kind of a model view control pattern. Okay. That means your code is you are structuring into HTML model. Sorry, view means you are creating. You can just think of it as an HTML, and controller is all the client side functionalities. And model is just more than that, just like the data. So whatever data you are getting, maybe from the backend or you are creating whatever. So these three are separately separated. So there is a clear separation, and Angular is following this MVC pattern. So that is MVC pattern is a very famous pattern which is available in several languages. Same way, AngularJS is following the MVC pattern. Fine. Now, um, okay. Now, before going to the complete things and all, let me show you how do we create a very basic AngularJS application. Okay, so we are just going to create a very basic simple application from the scratch. Then I will show you the application we created, the employee portal. Fine. So I just created an MD folder sample. Okay. Now the editor I am using is Sublime Text. So Sublime Text is just a text editor. Okay. Um, Rahul, actually, I am here. Some people are saying they can hear. There might be some problem with the audio settings or something in your side because some people, so other people says they can hear me. So can you just check the audio settings? If otherwise we can just see like what is the problem here. Okay. So I'm just continuing. Please check the audio settings. Um, okay. Okay. So we are just going to create a very simple application. Okay. So in AngularJS, it's only, okay. So I just started in the project. I just started, included the folder. So from that we'll be starting. So in any HTML app page, sorry, in any web page, right? So you need an HTML page, right? So I'm just going to create an index.html. Okay. So in that I'm just adding the basic HTML structure. This is how you will add a basic HTML structure. If you see hello world and if I'm opening in browser, it will show that it is showing the hello world. So this is a very basic application. Now we need to include the AngularJS part of it. So I will just tell you how do we include the very basic AngularJS application. So first thing is let's go and download from the AngularJS site. So AngularJS org is the site of AngularJS. So you can see I can just click on the download button and just you can download this one. Okay. So I'm just downloading here angular.min.js. So the first thing is you will add the script src is equal to angular.min.js. So I am starting with the how how I am including the Angular itself. I haven't gone through the details of Angular. Just we will include the Angular and just basic setup I will add. After that, I will explain you what is the different components or parts of AngularJS. Okay. Alok is asking which ID I am using. I am using Sublime Text. It's just a text editor actually. It doesn't have much purpose other than the basic syntax highlighting and some plugins it is adding. But it is not a complete ID or anything. Okay. Fine. So I'm adding script src. Now for any JavaScript, you just need to add one more script. So I am adding a separate file, script.js. In this folder itself, I am just adding script.js. Okay. So the first step in Angular is you need to have a main application name. Okay. So if you think of it like if a Java or something, if you're working, you will be importing packages, right? So you'll be writing like import some package name, okay, system, you will be writing. So the benefit is all the functions of the system will be available to you, readily available to you, right? The same concept is here. So for that, first we will be create. So that is this is called a namespacing, right? Same way, we are calling this as modules. So let's say I'm creating Angular.module. So how do we create a module is Angular.module of. Then a module name. So we are calling it as my app and just a symbol bracket that is for array actually. So this is we are giving my app. So now I need to the starting point of Angular is ng-app. So when you are running ng-app, when you are including AngularJS, and then AngularJS will look for ng-app structure in the page, and it will look for this one, and it will load this module. Same way how we are importing system in another program or importing a package, Angular will import this package in the page. So my app you can consider as a package, and that package Angular is including. Okay, now I initially told you Angular is an MVC structure. That means you need a controller, right? So I am creating a controller. Now I'm just going to write scope. What is scope? I am just going to tell. I will just tell you. So okay. So I added scope.test is equal to welcome to webinar. Now I am adding an ng controller. Same name, whatever name I have given here. I'm going to come here. Now I am using this property and I am just wrapping it inside two double bracket. And now let's see this application. So you can see this here. This is an AngularJS application now. Okay. So if you see that we are adding here test, but the value of test is showing here. Okay. So here we have seen three things. MVC. What is the MVC here? One is controller. Controller, you can see the controller we have created. This is the structure of how do we create a controller. Now, what is the view? HTML is the view. So the HTML. Now, what is the model? So here the test is the model. Okay. So test is the data you want to give to the view. So then whatever is the value you are giving, it will be available. So you can see that there is a complete separation. Controller is in one side, model is in another, and HTML is separate or view is separate, right? So that is the MVC pattern Angular is following. Okay. Now what exactly is the scope? So scope is actually, it's a glue. It's a, you can consider it's a view model. So it's like a bridge between view and the controller. So whatever you are attaching to the scope will be available in the controller, sorry, in the view. So whatever you are attaching from the controller to the scope will be available in the view. So it is pretty simple as that. Anything you can attach, any valid JavaScript, you can attach here and it will be available in the HTML page. Okay. That is the structure of Angular. So this is a very basic structure of AngularJS. AngularJS has other things also. So whatever components now we have seen is one is modules. So we created a module that is my app, which is being included in the page. Okay. Now there is a controller, which you can see we have given a name. Then we have view is already there. Then there is a scope. Important part is the scope. That is the glue between view and the controller. Okay. Now last one we have seen is the templating. Okay. So templating in the sense you are giving this curly brace. You can see this curly brace means JavaScript and Angular understand that it needs to be executed. So if I'm giving 1+1, it will just execute that. You can see it will execute and give the value. Okay. So that is how the Angular works in a very basic way. So if we have that much idea, now let me show you the application. Okay. So we'll just go through the application, real application, which we created. And I will just demo you how it is working right now. Okay. And after that, I will just go through AngularJS one more time. Then we'll go to the code. I will give you a code walkthrough of how this employee portal is created. Okay. There are other things also required for this application. So that I will just first give you a demo. Okay. So you can see this here. It's saying this is required, right? So these are the required fields. Even if I click on, it's not going to have anything. And if I am giving some invalid thing, same like any login information, it will give like the specified email address is invalid, right? So this the basic validations, everything normal login is there. So let me just log in. So if I'm logging, it's a very basic application. It will show on the right side all the users or all the employees, and there are two options. One is the profile page, and one is the status. You can just add your current daily status or something like that. So this is a profile page. In the profile page, you can see whatever is the data. So you can just update your data, and you can save it. And once it is saved successfully. And same way, you can you can add a status. Let's say I'm adding like a um, starting webinar or just webinar, and 2 hours. And if I'm adding, it will be added here. And even I can see the details of other people. So you can see other people's detail I can see. And even you can see this all the URL. If you notice, this is like it's not refreshing the page. It's a single page application. If you might have heard of single page application or SPA, single page application. So this basically it's like you are not refreshing the page. Everything is a small sections actually. You can see this main outside section is not changing at all. Only this content area is being refreshed or is being new items are being added to that. So the complete whole page reload is not there. Okay. So everything is based on a request to the server, and from that it will be getting. So if I'm clicking on a user, let's say I'm clicking, you can see the ID is changing. Symbol login 31. If I'm clicking on another user, it's 32. So that user's details I am able to fetch. But still, I am not. It's the complete thing is not. It's not refreshing the complete page. That is so, and it is showing the other users. Okay. Now let me show you some more features of it. So let's say, let me add one more. Okay. So I have two screens. Now I am again logging in. Okay. So here I've logged in. Fine. Now I'm logging in as another user here. Just to show you, these all things are being saved server side. Okay. Hmm. So let me take this one. So if you can see that when I updated, it's updating in the left side also, right? It's saved successfully here, and it's updating here also, right? Same way I can do the same way here. If you notice here, right now the name is Naren, right? And it's showing here. So maybe even I can take it here. Okay. So I'm seeing that user here. So if I'm updating the name here, you can see it's being updated here and here automatically. So you can see that it's being synced actually, right? So this whole sync is happening like from the DB, it's going to the server side, and then it's updating. So it's all the things are being synced actually. So the next part will be doing actually that is not integrated. We will be adding a chat also. So you can see chat also. It will automatically come here, and based on that it will show up here. Fine. Okay. So that is the basics of our application, and it's also responsive also. If you see, if I'm moving it here like that, and if I'm moving a little bit more, it will just hide it, right? So you can see this is hiding. Automatically it will adjust that accordingly, right? So that is how it's working. Fine. Okay. This is the application structure this is an employee portal we have created. Okay. Now let me go back to the AngularJS part. Okay. So right now we have seen three items. So all this controller we have seen, right? Now the main next part, important part in Angular is a service. Okay. So you can create a service. So any data you normally handle with a service. So giving a very basic idea only. More than that, it will take more time. So I'm giving a very basic idea. So let's say service means I can create using two methods, either factory or service. So let's say I'm creating a very basic service, my service. Okay. So you can see app.factory means app is the Angular module I've created. From that, I'm using the. Okay, sorry, I got a question. Okay, can we download the PPT and the code? Yes, all this PPT and the code, everything will be shared to you. Okay. Okay. So let's say the last one more next component in Angular is service. Service can be created using either factory method or the service method itself. So let's say I'm creating a function. So if you know JavaScript, actually getting more idea on Angular is pretty simple actually, because it's a normal JavaScript only you are writing. Only that the method name is the matter. Other than that, everything normal else. Let's say for example, we'll just create get users. Okay. So if I'm creating a get users and I am returning an array. Okay. Just a simple array I'm returning. Maybe array of object. This is how normally we'll get from backend, right? So you'll get name user1. Okay. Name age 10. Same way, I'm giving another user2 age 20. Okay. Ankita, this webinar will be this is being recorded. So later also it will be available. It will be shared to you. Okay. Mhm. Okay, I think before going further more on the Angular, let me give you, I think Amit is also asking, I think a little bit more idea on Angular, I think basic ideas required, right? So why Angular is, so you got some basic idea, right? So Angular's purpose is for structuring, right? So there are a lot of frameworks available already. I've told you like Backbone JS, React JS, all is there. So then why Angular? So Angular's benefit is coming. First of all, it is coming as a complete package. Okay. It has a lot of things. You can easily unit test. So unit testing is an important thing. You can easily unit test each of the components. And to make any changes, it's very easy, right? So for example, to do some, let's say we created a basic application like this, right? It is very easy to do it in Angular because it's Angular is coming as a complete package and you just need to attach to it and automatically is there. There are other features like two-way data binding and easily you can inject any module. So dependency injection, we'll we'll practically see how do we do a dependency injection. So these are the some of the features which is very useful, and because of that Angular became very popular. Okay, and there are several main sites you can see. If you see, go to site built with Angular JS, there is a site is available. In that you can see a lot of sites created using Angular. One example is if you see plural site actually, this is being created using AngularJS. So this is a one famous site created using Angular. So there are sites like this being created by Angular, and this is being used in lot of. In if you see in corporate world, most of the corporates are now using like any of the projects they are doing, they'll be using Angular. Why? Because it's very easy to maintain. Because it's unit testable and it's very, that structure is coming automatically. Angular is providing the structure automatically, so that it's very easy to work in a very big project and all. Even if you have 20, 40 people working in the same project, it's very easy to separate it out because the structure is there, so it's very maintainable. So the maintainability is there, and also it's scalable. You can scale easily because, but it's all up to how you are structuring. But Angular is providing that basic structure. Okay. Now, when you come to Angular, Angular has this basic components. That components only I'm telling you one by one. So we have seen modules is a one important component in Angular, then controller, then view, templating, and some other popular or important things which are available with. So all these together consider as AngularJS. So there are some popular things in our popular main components in Angular is filters. directives, and services. These are the main components available in the JavaScript. Okay. So these all features, components, I'm just giving you a quick glance on each component or each component of AngularJS. But since Angular is providing these many, if you compare with any other framework, let's say for example Backbone.js. Backbone.js, if you compare, it's just giving the framework structure only. I told you initially the framework is for structuring, right? So the framework is Backbone is serving its purpose. It is giving that structure that is there, but when you are creating an application, you need more than a structure. You need so many things, right? You need to have the templating. So templating means this one. So if you add a variable, it should be automatically executed. So you need to have the templating. You need to have a way to unit test. So you need to have the how to inject the dependencies. How do you maintain it? So many things are there when you really do a project, right? So Backbone is only for structuring. So you have to add extra libraries or extra things, several third-party extra, to make it work fully in a project. But Angular means when you're using, you can directly work and you don't need anything else. And any Angular sub items you might need, but still with Angular itself, you will be able to create a complete project. That is a benefit of Angular. It's a complete package. Okay. Now coming back to this thing. So we just learned one thing is we can create a module. So we just created a module, and that module is the starting point of Angular. So Angular will look for this, and Angular will inject all the things attached to that module. So then the next important thing is the controller. In the controller scope, we will add the property values we will be adding, and it will be automatically be added here. So for example, um, I can even change it. So let's say I'm adding an input. There is an option in G model. So let's say I'm giving the same property name. You can see same property name I'm giving here again. Now if you see, the same value is available in both the text box. If I'm changing here, it is even updating in the first part, right? So how it is getting updated? So this is all automatically being handled by Angular. You are not doing anything, right? Here you are just adding an ng model. We are just saying I have this as a model. So Angular automatically do the rest of the things. You don't have to listen for the key down. You don't have to listen for anything. Angular will automatically handle this. This earlier saying like Angular's magic. That is the one benefit. You can easily create an application in simply using Angular in very less time. Okay. So in that AngularJS components, so different item in that the main thing, two things are the controller we have seen. The next one is the service. So service mostly we'll use for any data manipulation. Means if you think of in a normal application, any server side call will be handled by the service, and any client side functionality, so HTML, any client side, anything to be passed to the view will be added in the controller. So in this case, we are just giving an example. I'm adding a function get users. Okay. And if I'm returning get users. Okay. Now I can just use so the one next benefit of Angular, I was saying dependency injection. How do you inject a dependency? So that is one important feature, or which make it easy to unit test standard is I created a service and I can just inject it. I can use it using just giving the name. I can just give this name, same name, and Angular will give the instance of that automatically for me. I don't have to do anything else. I can just use that now onwards. I can just use my service dot what is the function name. So directly I can use it. Same way I can create n number of services. I just need to give the name here so that Angular understand that this service is required for this controller, and it will just put it here. Okay. So let's see how easy it is to add a table. Okay. So I am just putting scope.users equal to my service dot gets users. Okay. Now if you see, I can add a table very simply like um, so for a we'll just show this users. Okay, it is having name and age, right? So we'll just create a tr that will first give uh, okay. name and age. That's only we are creating, right? Name and age. So simply for this kind of thing, if you are doing in using jQuery or normal JavaScript, you have to do a lot of string manipulation and a string concatenation you have to do, and then you have to construct everything by your own, right? So these kind of things are being taken care by Angular. So let's say, how do we do that in Angular? There are a lot of, you can see custom attributes are there. Okay, so I will just show you how this is done. Then I can explain on that. Okay. So don't worry if you are not getting anything. You can ask the question, and also like I just want to give you an idea on that. Okay. So let's say I'm adding user.name. Okay. Because this is the property name I have given, user.age. Now let's see. Here you can see it simply added that one, right? So to show a table with a lot of dynamic data, you just have to add an array and you just printed it here, right? And you just have to add an expression here. That's it. With that, you are able to add a complete table. So that is the easiness which you can do, which we can create easily an application. Okay. So from the service, the controller is getting the users, and then it is attaching to the scope. It is just giving a property. So whatever you are attaching to the scope, since scope is the glue, it is attaching to the it is will be available in the view, and then it is used by custom attributes. So with these things, so you can see different custom attributes, right? Ng repeat, ng model, ng app. These are all the custom attributes. So in Angular terms, we will say directives. So these custom attributes you are saying is called directives. Okay. So these are the directives given by Angular, automatically available with Angular. You can create your own directives also. That is custom directives. You can create your own custom directives also. Fine. So one question is, how can we create an interactive web page using Angular? Yeah, good question. So Angular's main purpose is that one, like making the interaction easy, right? So if you see this one, anytime it automatically see, for example, in let's say the backend is PHP. If your backend is PHP, right now I just created this array automatically, right? If your backend is PHP, you will be just making a Ajax call to the backend, and from that call will return you the list of users, right? So it will call that so in Angular there are services are available. So same way like we created my service, right? Same way Angular has built-in services available. For example, one is HTTP. If I am injecting HTTP, and if you can see that dependency injection available, if I am injecting HTTP, that using that HTTP I can make a backend call, and then backend call maybe it might be returning an array, right? So that array I can just pass it to the controller. So if you see that the way you are writing is completely same, right? If even if it is a static data, whether it's a static data or whether you are getting it from the backend, it can be PHP, it can be .NET, anything, but it all depends on how you get the data or not. When you're getting the data, it will be attached here and you can use it directly. Same way the opposite. Ng model is something you can, let's say you have a function here. Whatever you are attaching to the scope, it will be available, right? So get users, I am calling. I want to show the users only when I am clicking a button. Okay. So then I can do the same thing here, right? So I will not show initially. Instead, I will put a button, show users. Okay. Now let's say this is get users, right? This get users is a attached scope, so it is available here. So I can just say there is another custom attribute or directive available, ng click, and I can say get users. So now if you see the page, there is no that users are not showing up, right? When I'm clicking on this button, it's showing up. So if you see that the interaction is happening, right? Based on users input or based on users action, then only it's making something in the page or it's able to react to that user's interaction, right? So it's very easy to make that interaction also. You can see that it's not directly, the main important thing is Angular is you are not touching the DOM, or you are not selecting the DOM elements directly. Here I didn't select like select element document or get element by ID of something, nothing I had selected, right? I'm attaching everything to the scope, and here it is calling the method which is attached to the scope. So that means there is a clear separation. I am not controller is not, Angular is not touching, or the controller code is not touching the HTML, and the HTML is not touching the controller. Yeah. So the one question we have is, how do I use a jQuery in AngularJS application? So jQuery you can use in Angular. Mostly you don't need to use jQuery first of all to make AngularJS application work. But still there can be some scenarios where it's already a jQuery application is there. You just want to convert to Angular, or you want to include Angular also. Okay. Or there might be some jQuery plugin you want to use along with Angular. So that is very easy. Actually, Angular is not blocking you from using jQuery. You can use jQuery, and also you can just create a custom attribute or custom directive. In that you can put the jQuery plugin. So let's say you have a jQuery plugin date picker. So date picker, it needs to touch the DOM, right? It needs to select the HTML elements. So what you will do is you will create a custom directive, and that directive will internally create the jQuery plugin or anything. How to use the Ajax integration in Angular? Okay, so for that only I was telling. So how do we use the Ajax integration? So for that only, let's say your backend is some URL is your PHP. Okay, you have some URL like let's say your backend is PHP, and your URL is like users API/users. Okay, so right now we don't have that URL available, so I can't show you with live, but I will show you an example how we will be getting. So since you can see that I have injected already $HTTP. That is a built-in service provided by Angular. So I can just use $HTTP.get of this URL. That will provide me the data. I just need to do like function, then it will have the result. Okay, this will have the data which is like, let's say this is giving the complete users. So this will be the users. So if I see this one, I can return this users. Okay, I'll be getting here, I will be getting the users or result. Result will be the list of users. Okay, so this is how you will be communicating with the backend. So that is the Ajax call you are making. So anything with the jQuery or more than that you can possible in Angular, because it's anyway normal JavaScript only. It's just a wrapper on top of JavaScript, right? So in JavaScript you can do Ajax. Same thing you can do with more structuring you can do with Angular. So this way you can make the backend code. Okay, and yes, this recording will be available later. So you will be getting that later also. All the things, code, everything will be available to you later. Cool. Okay. Now coming back to so we have seen now the components. I am not going through theory. Instead, I am going through the practically, like, so the basic components which we use. So we have seen till now controller, templates we have seen, modules we have seen, and service we have seen, right? So now, okay, one question. Can Node.js be used with the Angular? Of course, you can use Node.js. See, Node.js is a completely different thing. Node.js is like, you can think of in a simple way, I'm saying, you can think of it is same like a PHP. Only that your backend logic you are writing in JavaScript, right? So that is nothing to do with Angular. Node.js, the JavaScript doesn't care whether your backend is PHP or .NET or Node.js, anything, right? Because anyway, you are making a code like $HTTP dot something. So the backend should give that URL, right? So get users should give me the data back. So the backend can be this backend can be anything. It can be Node.js or it can be anything. So that doesn't matter. Okay. So this many things we have seen now: controller, templates, modules, service. Okay, and you need scope for anything. You have seen that scope is the glue between controller and the view. Okay, so that is where we are using the templating. Now the same thing, if I can use service and factory, there are two methods if you go through normally. App.service is also available. This is exactly the same thing. There is no difference actually. Um, if I am putting the same name here, my service, only the way you are writing only will be different. Instead of this, I will be putting get users equal to this dot get users equal to. Then I will pass the same thing. Okay, so there is no difference other than this. So I can use still the same thing. So here I am returning it as a factory. Here I am putting to the this. Other than that, a service method and factory method doesn't have any much difference, and both are services. You will say for both I am saying mentioning as a service. Okay, so if you see this here again, it will show the same thing. So there is no any difference between the functionality. If the backend is Java, how to pass parameter from AngularJS to Java file? Okay. So you are see the basic thing you have to understand is any whatever is a backend, the backend will there are different types of HTTP parameters, HTTP requests are there, right? Either it can be a get request, or it can be a post request, or it can be a delete request, right? So when let's say you have a post request, so if you are calling a post request, let's say the URL is that URL for that is save user. Okay, so if you have a save user option like that, then your backend will be having an option to expect some value. So basically you will write like $http of save user. Then you have an option to pass the data. So let's say you have to pass complete user data. You're passing complete user data like uh, name is something, and age is something like that you want to pass, right? So you'll be just passing this data also. So rest of the things backend will be taking care of, and then it will send back the response. It can be success or error. It depends on what you are like the backend is it able to save or not, right? I have a Python script takes name of a stock as input and plots it. How can I use Angular to put my script on web to be used by a client without having to download Python on his system? And I wish to have, if wish to save user data, how one can create database. So the question is mostly it is associating with the backend. So basically any backend should give you the API. It's not that you are so if you are thinking like a in PHP and all if you are doing mostly it will be your earlier how we used to write PHPs. So let's say your PHP how you do write is PHP was rendering the page also. Okay. So you will be writing like this. Even the table, everything you will be writing. Let's say you have a table. So in the table, the value of it was coming from the PHP. So that time PHP was important. Or the backend, what backend you are using was important because HTML itself was rendered or created by the backend. Okay. So the data, whatever you are giving here or something, so that you will be creating using PHP earlier. But now the thing is different. Now the option is, or the way we are doing is, in any of the application, you will be getting only data from the backend. Okay, you are going to get a data. Okay, the data will be in a list of array of objects. So you can see this is an array of objects, right? So mostly the data will be an array of objects. So that array of objects is called JSON. Okay, JavaScript object notation. So you are going to get a data from the backend. So it doesn't matter whether your backend is PHP or Java or anything, Python, whatever it might be, because you are just going to call a URL, and that URL is going to give you a list of items, right? In a JSON form. JSON is nothing but a list of item in JavaScript objects. Okay. So you are going to get that, and then onwards only your logic starts in AngularJS. So the backend is only to provide you the data. Okay, this is only data specific. So the backend is not at all important. No, I'm not saying not important, but I am saying it's not relevant in the AngularJS specific. For AngularJS, there is no difference whether it's an whatever is a backend. Okay, because you are just going to get the data. Angular just needs the URL and it will return get data from that URL and then it will use it, right? So for it, the every time the pattern is same. I hope that answers the question. Okay, so we have seen some most of the important parts of AngularJS. Now, next one is the directives. Directives actually you have already seen. NGApp is a directive. It's any custom. This is one of the main features of AngularJS. AngularJS is bringing extra features to the dynamic page. So it's making a dynamic HTML to a static HTML. Sorry, the opposite. I am sorry for that. It's making a static HTML to a dynamic HTML, right? How it is making is if you are adding just a simple custom attribute, you are going to add a lot of functionality, right? You just added ngapp is equal to myapp, and Angular automatically will know that it needs to get all the functionality from myapp. Okay. Same way, we can create a directive. So that custom attribute in Angular is called directive. So let me show you a simple example of a directive. So directive, I can give my directive again, some name I'm giving. So restrict is like you want it to create as an element or you want to create it as an attribute. I'm just giving both option, element and attribute. And then I'm giving a template. Let's say I'm giving like uh, H1. This is a custom element. Okay. I'm just giving a custom element here. Uh, Sorry, any question I haven't answered? I saw that one question, but I am not seeing. Okay, I hope it's answered. Okay, so forget about the link and all now. Just I am showing you a simple directive. Okay, a restrict, I am saying what element I want. I'm just showing you an example of it. So let's say I'm creating my directive. See, you can see that I'm creating a custom element, right? I'm creating a custom element now here. My directive. There is no any HTML tag like that, but still I am creating a custom element like that. And then I am, let's see this in the page. Okay. So you can see that this is a custom element. We didn't add anywhere, right? We just added this directive or a custom element here. We didn't add this HTML. But Angular is clever enough to understand that when you are saying my hyphen directive, it will look for a directive component with the name my directive and it will render that one. Okay, so that is a powerful or power of AngularJS. So that means you just need to, same way you can create as a directive. So since we enabled both A and E, A means attribute. I can even change it as a directive. Sorry, attribute. Okay, so I can give us an attribute for a div. Now same thing, right? So now if you compare this with ngClick, ngClick is also the same thing. It's creating a custom component and that custom component can have several functionalities, will have several functionalities. Okay, another question is what is Ajax? Okay. Um, okay, before that, sorry, one more question. Okay, what will be my role in using AngularJS? Okay. Sorry, before Ajax, let me cover this one, I think. Okay, cool. So, what is Ajax is in, okay, let me see this one. What is Ajax in the sense like, let's say you have now I have told you this is all single page application, right? That means in a page you are not refreshing. I shown you an example, our application. Once you can see this is not at all reloading the page, right? It's see you are in the same page, correct? You are whenever I am logging in. So if I'm logging in, it's going to you can see that localhost 80 is not changing, right? It's only then after the hash something is changing. Correct. So that hash and then it is changed to home, then it's changed to profile. It's not at all reloading the page. If you see, it's not reloading. It's only this part is changing, right? So if you are when you're doing like that, that means you are not refreshing the page. In that kind of a scenario, you need to have a mechanism to communicate with the server using JavaScript itself. right? If you're refreshing the page, earlier our scenario was you will be having, like in the initial stages, you'll be having a form. Okay, you'll be having a form. This is how we used to write earlier. I don't know how many plus worked earlier, like um, so we will be like writing like method is equal to post, and you will be having an input type equal to submit, submit, in that a submit button. So this was pretty easy. Means you, when you're clicking on submit button, you will send that request to the you will send that request to the backend. Okay, so then it will re-render the page. That means a page refresh is happening, and whatever you are getting from the server, you are immediately showing up as it is. You don't have anything to do, right? But in our case it is different because we are not refreshing the page or anything. When I'm clicking on a button, I need to do some action. So let's say I'm making, you can see that the network tab I have opened in Chrome browser. You can just let me open that again one more time for you. So in that network tab, so let's say I'm making some change, right? So let's say Naren. If I'm making some change, you can, okay, sorry, it didn't start recording. Okay, it is there, right? Okay, okay. 1 minute. I will just show you. I think it's incognito mode. I think that is the reason it's not showing up the network. Yeah, now it's showing up. So these are all get methods, right? Okay, ABCD. So you can see here, it's making a get request. If you see here, it's making a request call, right? And you can see it didn't make directly using form or anything. Okay, it made a call using the JavaScript. From the JavaScript, we made this call. So to make a code like that, we need a mechanism, right? So for that, HTML has given a mechanism that is called, or JavaScript has given a mechanism that is called AJAX. Means asynchronous. It's a asynchronous means it happens at a later point of time. Asynchronous JavaScript AJAX notation like that. I forgot the full name. So it's AJAX, and so basically with this implementation of Ajax, the main benefit came is you are able to communicate with the server using JavaScript. Dynamically, you are able to communicate, and you are able to pass some data or get some data. Earlier, it was not possible. You have to submit the form, and the form only will automatically pass the values. But now, with the coming of Ajax, that is how the all the things like the single pay applications all started with the Ajax, with the starting of Ajax. Because when Ajax came up, you can get some small data. You don't have to refresh the complete page. Only the part you need only needs to be refreshed, because you can do partial refresh because you are now able to make the backend call using a JavaScript. I can make like so internally it's making an XML HTTP request. We'll not be able to go much detail on that. So there is a JavaScript API, XML HTTP request. This JavaScript API is being called, okay, to make backend response. So you can get the data, you can pass the response. So you can specify which method I need to call, everything you can specify. Earlier, it was not possible. You can just use only form. So that is where the importance of Ajax. So this is called Ajax actually. So using this feature only we are making. So if you see the $HTTP I said, right? When I'm saying $HTTP, that internally is making the XML HTTP request code, and it is getting the data. Okay, and if you know only Angular, that itself is more than enough, because you don't have to know about the backend, right? You don't have to know about backend to get this data. You just need to know the URL. You don't, because you are not caring whether it's a backend is Python or Java or anything. You are just calling the URL, and you know how to make the URL. You will be make the call. You will be making an HTTP call, right? In the HTTP, you need the URL only. You don't need to know the backend logic, right? So you don't need to learn. You will get the data, and then once you get the data, you will use it for however you want to use. Fine. That is how we are using. Okay. Any? I hope that answered that. Okay. 1 minute. Could you please show me with the two input values getting from client side to server side through AngularJS code demo? Okay, so you want, so Sujit is asking how the integration with server side, right? So till now I am showing with the dummy data. Okay, so now what we will do is, so now I have given you, Sujit will go to that. Before that, let me just conclude this. So now I have given you a basic idea. Controller, directive, service, and these are the basic components of it, right? So now you have the basic idea. Let me show you the real application which we created. Let me show you the code of it. Okay. So, so this is the application we have created. Employee portal application is this one. Okay. So you can see the complete application here. So let me show you a little bit on. So before starting into the folder structure, okay. Okay, the basic things I will tell you. All the JavaScript or all our AngularJS code is in the scripts folder, and all the basic styles is in the styles folder. Okay. Now, before even starting that, let me show you one. Let me tell you one scenario. Now you see, you are doing the AngularJS. We downloaded from the AngularJS site, right? But later on, one more person is coming. Then you are asking him to. So you are telling him to work on this. So he don't know which is the version. So he might again go to the site and he will download. But that time the version might be different, right? So how do you maintain that thing? Or maybe you have to tell him like, what all things to be downloaded. Maybe one library might be depending on another. So we can do it in a better way. Okay. So let's say this sample page, right? So let me open in command prompt. I can use the same thing. Okay, this is our sample application. I am showing you an example, then I will explain you what it is. Okay. So I'm doing a bower in it. So I'm going to talk about the bower. Okay. The second one I am using. This has nothing to do with Angular, but it is very important in a front-end development. So I'm just giving whatever they are accepting, whatever they are giving. I'm just, this is a one-time activity I'm doing. Okay. So I added a bower.json file is created. Fine. Just leave that part. Now, initially we downloaded AngularJS, right? Now what I am doing is bower install Angular save. I am doing this much. See, I am giving a command, and what will happen is it will automatically go and download the AngularJS version, and you can see it will be updated here. It will be added in the dependencies here. So this bower components will be, you can see in the bower components Angular will be available. So what is the benefit of it? So next time when you're giving to someone else, you don't have to give this complete folder or library anything, right? Let's say I remove that bower components folder. Okay, my index.html is depending on the bower components now. You're going to get this same thing, whatever. Now you can see that folder is removed. Now next time when I'm opening, I don't need to do anything. I just need to, since I have available it in the bower JSON, I can just do bower install. So when I'm doing bower install, whatever is added in the bower JSON, it will be automatically be downloaded. You can see it's again downloading, right? So you don't have to give the complete libraries to anyone. You can easily manage with this. So now I can use this like a bower underscore, sorry, bower underscore components slash angular. So angular slash angular min.js, same thing. But now you are not worried about the version or this Angular might be having another dependency. Nothing, you don't have to worry about. You can install any, most of the libraries will be available like that. So let's say you want to install jQuery. You can install jQuery like this. So same way, most of the libraries, client-side libraries will be available. So this is a client-side package manager, you can say. Okay. So this is very useful. That's why I am saying you now is, so the second part we used in the application, you can see bower components. So these are the third party libraries we are using in our application. You can see Angular Animate, Angular Aria, Material, Message, URL, a lot of things we are using. These are all So next time when I'm giving, I don't need to give the complete this Bower components folder because there's a lot of files, right? Later on it might be added. I just need to give this Bower JSON, and they know what all things to be added. Some things I have, yeah. So you can see everything whatever is there, it will be added here. So people just need to do Bower install and it will be added. So that is the Bower components. Okay. Okay. So Angur just joined the webinar, so he's asking how to. So Angur, actually, this will be recorded and you will get at a later point of time. So anyway, every component we are discussing here, everything we are discussing here will be available to you later. Okay. Um, Bower, one thing I want to clarify, Bower is nothing related with Angular. Okay. It's a client-side package manager. It has nothing to do with Angular. Bower is just for, you can search for Bower. Um, Bower is a package manager for the website. Okay, that means you can add any client-side libraries you are using. You can just install using Bower so that it's easy to maintain. Okay, for that purpose only. Bower and Angular is not related. Okay, sorry if I confused you. So I just gave you about a idea about Bower because Bower we are using in our project. Okay, okay. Now the Now we have seen scripts folder. One is main folder structure scripts, then partials folder. So what is partials? So in a single pay application, partials is very important, right? Because if you see this part is the top header part and right side part is not changing. Only the part it is changing is this part, right? The content area. So that means you are getting a template or HTML partial template. It's not a complete HTML, only that part of the HTML using the Angular's templating system. You are getting only the part of the HTML to the content area, right? So you are getting each time the content area. That is called, we are just setting it as I am putting in a partials folder. So you can see, for example, this is the profile page, right? So profile page, if you see, okay, that is a lot of things are there. Let me show you a simple one. Okay. So there is a home page. In home page, two buttons are there. That's it, right? View profile and status updates. You can see view profile and status updates. So when I'm clicking on view profile, sorry, when I'm clicking on home page, the content of home is or template of home is being injected to the page. How this is being injected, we will see later. But this is the, so these templates are being injected. So just think of that much now. We'll see how this handling of this URL change is being, that we will see in a minute. Okay, so this is partials, then scripts. In scripts we have all the our logic. Okay, now how we have structured our application code. So the everything starts with the, we have given a main page. So this is the employee portal. You can see. You can see the same name, the ng app. I told initially ng app is the starting point of an AngularJS application. So I've given that name. So that is a starting point. But since this is a like the same way we do it, like import system.io, import system, like that I told you, right? Same way, one module can inject other modules, or you can say this module is depending on so many other modules. Okay. So I am injecting several other things, ng material, Firebase, ng message. These are all we'll see one by one. And you can see there are some submodules I've created. emb.status, cmb. These are the each page. For each page, I have created a submodule. You can say status page, login page, home page, profile page. So that we will see that in a minute. So you can see that one module is depending on so many other modules. So that when you are loading this module, automatically Angular will load all the dependent modules. Okay. So that is the main page. So app.js is the starting point. Then there are some outside thing. Directive means it is a common directive. So I created a directive chat box. That is, you are seeing in the right side. This is the chat box. So that is a separate directive. So how I have used it, you can see it's simply with the um, you can see it's a EMB chat box, a symbol attribute. With that attribute, all these things are coming up. All these functionalities, everything is coming up with just that attribute because all the functionalities we have added here. Okay, that is a directives. Now there is a usage section and layout. These are the common section. That's why I put it outside. Layout. anything related to the outside thing. So you can see here it says login, logout, and release handle, because in clicking on logout on top, we are doing that. That is what these things. Then comes the pages. So for each page I have separated. So this is where Angular is very useful, because since Angular is having this module structure, we can separate into different sections. So now it is easy, right? Anyone joining, or let's say you want to work, you are going to work on this one, and I am asking you to make some change in the home page. It's very easy for you to understand, right? You just need to go to pages home, and you know that for sure you need to add it here, right? So it's very easy to understand. For a, even if you start now, you can easily make some contribution easily, because you know that the path easily. That is the main purpose of this structuring. Okay, so this folder structuring using feature wise or page wise is very important. So there are different pages, home login for each page. I have given a module name. So this is the module name we are injecting in the main module. Module name, then the controller. We have seen controller, and then it is attaching the template, right? Now, before going to the details, let me show you the other modules which we are depending on. So we have seen Bower, that is a package manager. Second one is ng material. Ng material, if you see this content, I told you this responsiveness is there, automatically the responsiveness is coming, and the styles and all, right? So if you see this one, you can see a shadowing is there. For this and all, I haven't added much by my own. Instead, what I am using is a third-party Angular module. So there are a lot of third-party modules. This is actually created by Angular itself, but it's a separate. It's not integrated into the Angular. Okay. So there is a separate material design. Like basically, it is for a responsive design. They have created a lot of directives. So directives, I hope you understand by now what is directive. It is nothing more than a custom directive or custom HTML component in which we can add a lot of functionalities. Okay. So Angular material is a module which is having lot of directives, um, helps to create the responsiveness and all the things like accessibility and all. Okay. So there are, you can see lot of items are there, autocomplete, bottom sheet, or so many things are there. So if you see this one, what is your, you can type something. So these are the components which is readily available for us to use. So you can see in the main page, so in the initially when I'm typing, it's the text box is showing. For this, I didn't do much in that. You can see, let me show you the partial for the login.tpl. I just started an empty input container. So you can see a custom tag here again, right? A custom tag given by the Angular material. So there are a lot of custom directives given by the Angular material which I can use. So I have, first of all, I have downloaded that using Bower. So Angular material is there. Then I have included that ng material. Then only it will be useful. Then I can use any of the directives provided by the ng material team, Angular material team. So I can use, if I want any of this, I can use. So it is very like it's gaining moment. It's a very new one actually. It's still actively developed. A lot of issues still there, but it's very good. That's why I used. Actually, people might have heard about Bootstrap. Twitter Bootstrap is there. That is a popular one, popular CSS framework, which is being used in most of the sites to make responsiveness. Okay, so this is there for long actually, but now material design is a new concept, and with that material design and Angular directives, there are more the responsiveness are in a more different way we can create. So this is more modern thing, the material design. That's why I used it so that you can get a hang of it. Okay. So that is the one next module we have used. So there are a lot of directives. You can just go through that and see that all the directives. Then the main next important thing is what is the backend I am using? I am using a backend Firebase. Okay, so Firebase. So initially we have seen a two-way binding, right? I have shown you in the simple application. Two-way binding. What is two-way binding? We added a test here and I added an input text box here. Let me open that one more time. So when I'm making a change here, it's changing here, right? Automatically a connection is set up there. You are not doing anything. You just added an ng model, right? So that is two-way binding. Means when something is updated here, it is updating here also. Correct. So that is client side two-way binding. We are happy. But we want the same thing. That is, when I am making some change on the client side, I want it to be automatically updated to the server side also. Same way, opposite. Server side something happening, automatically it should update here, right? That kind of scenario. That means you want real-time syncing of data. That kind of scenario, you can use a Firebase. That's why when I show you the demo, when I made some change in the left side for one user, it automatically immediately made the change in the right side, correct? So that is the syncing works. So for that Angular, there is a Firebase and they are giving a service also, Angular file. So first of all, I included the module Firebase module. That also I have downloaded same way like any other thing. Angular Fire, Firebase. Okay, Angular file and Firebase. So I've included there here again, and then you can see in any service. So let's say for example, login service. Okay, login control. Oh, sorry, login control. In that login control, there are a lot of objects given by the Firebase. Since I have included the Firebase module, so Firebase is a completely new, different one. Like lot of things are there. So I may not be able to go to detail of this. So basically the thing is you will have a URL. So let's say here you can see that full database here. So this is a database I've used. For example, you can see ABCD, Gmail, Naren, Hello. This is the updates we are making, right? Let me show you an example how it is updating the, dynamically. So here, let's say, okay. So you can see, just notice on this left side, okay. So abcd at gmail.com, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now the presence online is false. Okay. Now if you see when I'm logging in, automatically this changing to online true. So it's updating immediately. Okay. It's updating immediately. And let's say I'm view profile, I'm making some change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7 something. Okay. See it's updated. So there is a real-time update is happening. Okay. And for that, our code is very less. So that is where this Firebase is useful in that kind of scenarios. And here I'm authentication is happening here. Then you can see auth dot create user and all is there. Let me show you the profile page we just saw. Okay, so profile page, in that we are just creating a reference. So there's a Firebase object is there. So this will be confusing for you because a lot of things in Firebase. So don't worry about Firebase for now. You just get the idea that Firebase is for the real-time syncing. Okay. So in that Firebase, we need the URL. This is a URL for that for my that our database you can think of. In that we are getting the users and I am creating a reference or instance of that object. And whenever I am saving, automatically it will be updated here. It will immediately be updated in the server side also, and whenever it is updating it will be reflected in everywhere. So that is why the users on the right side will updating automatically. So this Firebase will handle automatically because we are setting it to the scope. When we are setting this to the scope, for example profile CTRL, I am setting scope.user when I am getting that reference. When I am setting that reference, then automatically any changes happening from the server side, it will be in sync with the client side. So that is where there is a three-way binding happening. Okay, three-way binding, data binding is happening here. Fine. So that is where we are using the Firebase. So Firebase is only for this example. You may not even use Firebase anytime. It can be any anything, like it can be PHP or Java or anything. I use Firebase so that I can show you the real-time syncing of data. So there is a three-way data binding happening. Okay. Now the last piece is like last bit of the puzzle is like UI router. Okay. So we have seen ng material, that is for the responsiveness, and we have seen Firebase for the three-way data binding or backend, and then the UI router. So you have seen that whenever we are changing the URL, whenever we are going to something, this template is injecting. How it is getting injected? So we are using a third-party module UI router for that. So the UI router is, we can specify the state for that. So you have to think that this is a single page application, right? So that means state means it's only that which is not reloading the page or anything. You can think same like, so backend needs a routing, right? So let's say you are using only backend mechanism, like backend only is rendering the HTML. So you need a routing mechanism, right? So if it is a slash login, then you have to go to login page. If it is a slash sign up, you have to go to sign up page. So then in the backend, there will be a routing mechanism. Same way, when you're doing a single pay application, you need a routing mechanism in client side also. For that we are using. So you can see we have specified different routes. I'm saying there is a state login. What is a URL? Slash login. So it will go to that one. And what is a template to be injected? So this template will be injected partial slash login.tpl. And what is a controller for that template? All these things, the last one you can just avoid, this only for Firebase. So let's say for example, profile or home page. Okay, let's say for home page. I'm saying home page, then it's saying it will go to slash home. You can see that URL slash home and template URL partial slash home.tpl, right? So it will open that, it will inject that partial.home.html. What is a controller? So it will take home controller. How it is getting? Because it's a name is home. So Angular, everything it gets using the name. So naming convention is important. So it is getting the home CTRL. Okay. Now, so that much only is required and it will get that thing. So, but how do it knows that only this part is to be updated? It might be updated in all places, right? How it knows that it should be updated only in that content area? So for that, we are using you can see here I am using a UI view, again a custom directive. If you go through AngularJS any application, custom directives are the most important parts in a AngularJS application. Any function you can add in a custom view. So this custom directive is given by the third-party module UI router. Okay, so UI router is providing this custom directive UI view. So this is just nothing other than a placeholder. So when you're putting a UI view here, the UI router module understand or Angular will understand that you have to inject the template to that UI view. So this all HTML will be appending or inserted to that UI view div. So whichever content you added UI view, inside that the content of the active URL which you are in or active state you are in, the template of that will be injected to that page. That's why the right side and top side is not changing because only this part we have given as UI view. So the template will be updated to only that part, right? Other parts will not even move, right? And last piece of the puzzle in that one is here you can see it's a dynamic. You can see even you can put dynamic things. So, actually in routing, lot of features are there. That is even again a vast topic. So basically it is like you can give a dynamic ID here. So you are here I am saying a user ID will be passed. You can say that it's not profile slash UID, right? It's something like profile slash then custom thing. It's changing every time, right? How it is because the profile UID I have given a full call and I am saying this user ID will be dynamic. Every time this user ID will be changed and based on that get me the data. Okay. Or whatever functionality you want to do. So this state is again, this is so we have created several states and if nothing is matching, it will go to the login page. And when I'm saying page, it's again a state only. It's not completely refreshing the page or anything. And these are again state provided. These are all services provided by the UI router module. So when you are using injecting router module as a dependency, all the features of your router will be available here. That's why using state provider, you are creating a state, right? Um, and I don't know if we are getting how much you are getting because it's a little fast. We are doing a lot of things are there. Okay. What are the important function in Angular? Can we use MySQL in backend when we use Java PHP? Okay. See, maybe okay, maybe uh, you came late, right? So maybe I'll just reiterate one thing. One thing is actually in Angular is not depending on what is your backend at all. you can use anything in your backend and you can use any database in your backend. That doesn't matter at all, right? Because the URL, sorry, the URL you will be calling, it will be like, so let's say your backend, you have get users, okay, or you have just slash users, some API is there, and it requires that it needs to be a get request, okay. Then Angular part is only this. Angular will call this URL, right? It will make the get request to the backend. Backend can be anything. It can be Java. Let's say it's a Java backend. Okay. What Java will do? Java will internally call the MySQL. If you are using MySQL, for example, it will call MySQL database and it will query it and it will get the users. Then what will happen? Java will return back. It will return so Java will return back the list of users it will, that means basically it is giving the response, sorry, right, it is giving the response, correct. So then once Angular gets the response, finally Angular will take over. So Angular's part is only this part. Its functionality stops after this. So here passing the get request, here it is getting the response. That much part only Angular's responsibility. Other thing is up to you or up to your backend developer. What is the backend you are using? Because in as Angular knows the URL and what is the type it needs to pass. That's the only thing, right? Um, sorry, that was it. Okay, 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 cool. So this is how we are having the AngularJS session and all. Fine. Okay. Sorry for that. Yeah. The last thing, one more thing we are using is ng messages. Ng messages is not that important when you come to Angular only you will get that. So basically, like you can see in a login.html, let's say let me log out. When I'm logging, you can see this required is coming, right? And when let's say when I'm typing something, this is required is going away, right? Automatically this is being taken care of. You are not writing anything. It's automatically being taken care of that this is required, and when it is changing it's and how you are adding this. Only thing is that you are adding a required. Required is an attribute in HTML itself. It's not Angular, but when it is required is there and you are not adding any value or you are not entering any value, that field is an invalid, right? So you can just use an ng message module is giving an ng messages directive, and that ng messages will check if it is error. If this is an error, it will show that valid message. Okay. So and automatically other things will be taken care of. You don't have to make it hidden or you don't want to give the animation or anything. Animation will be taken care by Angular material design, and automatically hiding and all will be taken care by ng messages. So you don't have to do much coding. So that is the main thing. Advantage in Angular is most of the work will be handled automatically. You just need to give the property names and it automatically be taken care of. Okay. Now let me show you the flow one time. So okay, okay. So let me show you the flow here. So let's say first it is coming to the login page. So app.js. So initially we have given URL router provider. Otherwise, that means we are saying the default pages login page. Okay, it comes to the login page, and then login page we are saying login CTRL. So what will happen? It will pages to the login CTRL. It will take. Once it is coming, then let me open the template also, login.tpl.html. Okay. In that we have given, when we are clicking on ng-click, I have added an ng-click again, ng-click, then login function. So that login function should be available in the controller because controller scope, right? So you can see scope.login is there. So scope.login is a method and this is being called by ng-click when the on the login button. Okay. So it is calling that one scope.login and it is checking if the form is valid, then it is making the backend call. Auth with auth this password and all is related to Firebase only. Once it is successful, okay, on login successful, and then we are making, then finally, once we are able to authorize, so this part is related to Firebase. So once you are able to log in, then what will happen is It will set the current user, that is a service I am using, user service. It is just to set the value. Same thing what we did had like what we seen earlier, like a factory. In that factory, I can return any function and it can be injected and used, right? So I'm just saving that variable here. And then you can see I am using state.go of home. That is the routing part. So this dollar state is a service given by UI router, and the dollar state is telling go to the home page. Okay, so when we are saying go to the home page, what is happening? Home page again we defined here. URL is home, template URL is this one. So let's open that one now. So it will come to home page, home.tpl and home CTR, right? So it will open the home CTR. Now in home.tpl, what we have given? We need to give the link to the profile and the status, right? So giving a URL is very simple. So again, it's not href, it is UI sref. That is again another custom directive given by the UI router. So you can see lot of custom directives being added here. So each module, so you don't have to memorize all the custom directives and all. Each one, if you go to that, for example, let me go to this one UA router. So UA router, what all are the directives available? It will be given in the documentation. So you just need to go there and use that, use the what all directives it is providing. You just need to use that. So you can see whatever I told, section UI view and state we are giving. That state is there, and all the things will be available here. Okay. So UI sref is the attribute to that we are can give the link to the state. Okay. You mentioned the unit testing as one of the advantages of Angular. Can you provide more info on how to check test coverage? Is there any automation possible? Okay. Okay. So unit testing, for that actually test coverage is like a, you can use any modules. So unit test right now I don't have the code with here. So basically we will be using a unit testing framework given by Angular is Karma. Okay. So it's the why I said Angular is easy to unit test is because if you see this one, every controller or everything you are injecting, right? So you are injecting user service, layout service, anything. So the benefit is when you are unit testing, what will happen? You need to mock the data, right? Every data may not be available. Unit testing means you are testing a particular unit, right? So let's say that time you are you want to mock the data. So you can easily mock it because you are injecting anything. So you can give any data, right? Instead of user service, I can give a mock user service, right? So that is the benefit of why I said Angular is easily unit testable. For test coverage, you have to use another plugin or something. Like there are a lot of um, plugins available for the showing the test coverage. And automation, of course, is possible. Actually, there's an end-to-end testing framework also, Protractor, that is also Angular's. And it's very easy to, there's a wrapper on top of Selenium. I don't know how much people worked on Selenium. So I'm just giving an idea, like Selenium is a, which is being used everywhere for automation. And Protractor is a wrapper on top of Selenium and which is used in AngularJS applications. And we can generate reports out of it. Everything is possible. And there are several selectors which is Angular specific is also available with the Protractor. Okay. How about the material design in Angular? Will it take care of design for all devices like mobile, tab, apps like Bootstrap? Yes. Yes, that is the purpose of material design. That is why if you see, when I am, so let me show you first one. But material design, like it's still like you can't use it in a production ready application because it's still being actively developed. You can see when I'm reducing the size. So let's say I'm going to mobile ready size, right? It's automatically being reduced because I have given a condition like that. Like it means I can give attributes like that. Same way in Bootstrap you will give class. I can give attributes like when I am in a small medium, hide it, or when I am in a small medium, put it in a row wise manner rather than a column wise manner. So that responsiveness is available with material design. Yes. Okay. Now, Okay, did I answer that question? Okay, cool. Okay. Now, so let's continue on that. So we reached home page. So in that home page, what we are doing, we need to get the we are just initting it. Initting means I need to set the basic layout service. So where is layout services? It's in the layout. In layout, I'm just initting that I am setting the presence online true. So when I've shown you initially that when user is logging in the Firebase, in the backend, it is setting this value presence online true, right? So that is being handled in the init function. So init function, we are again making a Firebase reference or instance, and then to that we are just setting presence.online is equal to true, and then we are just saving it. So it will be automatically, it will be immediately saved there. Okay, that is the init we are doing. That much only we are doing in home controller. But in TPL, we are giving two sref. One is we are saying clicking on status, it will go to status. Status is a static URL. It doesn't have much other thing. But profile, if you see, profile is a dynamic, right? Dynamic in the sense, if I'm clicking here, the second part is dynamic. The ID is changing every time. And I'm clicking even the ID is changing. So that is a dynamic. So we need to generate the dynamic. So we need to give, we can give like, what is the value for the dynamic property? So what is the value for user ID? So I'm giving user is equal to user.id. That user I got from where? I put scope.user is equal to, then that from the user service I got it. So you can see that connection is happening. How that connection is, you are getting data is coming from service. So data is first there. It is okay. Firebase is giving the data, right? Firebase is giving the data. Then it is come to service, and service is being called by controller. Controller will attach to dollar scope. Okay, dollar scope will be given to the view. So that is a simple flow, right? This is what is happening every time. So only that Firebase part will be changed. Firebase will be changed with Java, or it can be a .NET or anything. But this part will be changed, but the other things are same. You will be getting some data and it will pass to the service. Service will pass that to the controller. Controller will attach to the scope and the view will use it, right? So same way here also, scope.user, I am setting to that property the current user. The current user I am getting using the user service get current user. I've already saved it initially like in the login control itself. We saved the current user. Now I am using a getter, get current user. So it will just return uh, either null, or if it is there, it will return the sorry, it is written in the current user data. I just angular dot copy and it will return that. Okay, return current user data, current user auth data. Okay. So that is the user. Now I can give that user.id or user.auth.id I can give, and that will be the ID being passed here every time. So UISref directive is intelligent enough to create a URL from the property you are passing. So profile is static and the second part is dynamic. So it will generate like that. So let's say now we are going to the status page. Okay. Let's say we clicked on the status link. Now let's see the status. Okay. So status, again we declare that the page is status.dpl and the control is status controller, right? And the service is status service. So in status.dpl, first one is a button. So we will have a button is there, add status. Then second one is, again you remember we created a simple table, right? Using ng repeat. Same way here also ng repeat. There is a ng repeat start. It's just a small variation of that, but same ng repeat only. Just 1 minute. Where we can use AngularJS. Okay, any this kind of application where you will have more forms and more interaction needed in a single page application, you can use AngularJS. Okay, so this is like more interactive application, right? Any data update is happening, I need to immediately showcase here there. So that kind of things it will be here also. So for that kind of things you can use AngularJS. Okay, now coming back, so we are using an ng repeat. I'm showing add the all the tasks here and show this thing. So here I am giving the name. This is an alias, item in status. Okay. Then I am repeating to that. ng repeat is to item, and I can give item dot name and item dot hours. So let's me try to add one more. So let's add adding project. Okay. So if I'm adding that, you can see it's immediately updating because it's in a ng repeat. So it's being repeated. So if you inspect that element also, it's being repeated, and you can see each item will be repeated every time. So ng repeat is equal to this. This will be separate different times. See, one repeat here, one repeat here. So Angular will create the HTML, everything it will do. So you just need to give the expression, which array I need to loop through, and what is the temporary name for that, so that I can use it here. So since I have given item, that is like each item. So that item has a name and hours properties there. So it will show up that, right? So, and status service is getting that status here. So you can see it is calling the Firebase URL again, and it is getting the users, and users having the status property, and it is returning that. So this is same every time, like because we are using Firebase. If you are using another thing, it will be different. So that doesn't matter. So we are making the get status, and that is the user. So then user.status is the status, and then when you are adding the status, that is when you are clicking on that pop-up, clicking on that submit button. On add status, you will just add the status value, and then you will push that, and you will save it. That's it. When you're saving it, it will update it to Firebase, so that immediately that update is happening in everywhere. And finally, you are hiding that pop-up. So MD dialog is again from the material design. Material design is giving some this kind of services also, so that you can show the pop-up. So you can see this pop-up is coming, this animation. Then when I'm clicking on it, it's going back. This kind of things are happening because of material design. What is then in Angular? What it actually does? Okay, good question. So what is then is, this is related to the Ajax thing. Okay. Okay, 1 minute. Okay. So let's say you are making a request to backend. So you are making a request like HTTP of some get users again. Let's say get users. You are making a call like this. Okay. Now, when you are making a call to backend, anyway, it will take some time, right? Till it gets the response, you will not wait for that. Then the problem is, first of all, JavaScript is a single threaded. If you compare to any other language, the main difference with JavaScript is that it's a single threaded language. Why single threaded is, and why it is important is, browser means you can't make it stuck anytime, right? Because if let's say the browser is waiting for this to be completed, and your backend is having some error, and it is taking lot of time. Okay, let's say 5 minutes. If 5 minutes you are not allowing anything to do, anything for the user to do, if you are not allowing at all to do anything, any other action or anything, then the users will be irritated, right? Means you can't give a blocking experience for the user. That is why what is happening is JavaScript is using in a, what are the main function? Okay, I will come to that, Ashish. What are the main functionalities? I will come to that. Okay, so since we can't, since it is single threaded and it will be a blocking, we can make synchronous call. Synchronous call means it will wait for, let's say, users. It will wait for the users until it gets, it will not even execute the next line. So I might need to do something else. Let's say I'm doing an alert. So this alert will not be executed till the users are completed in a synchronous call. Okay, in a synchronous call. But we don't want to do that because we don't want to make a blocking experience for the user. So what we'll do, all the normal JavaScript call or Ajax calls will be asynchronous. So it's Ajax call, right? So we can make, we will be setting it as by default, it's an asynchronous. Asynchronous means when you're making HTTP call, you are not going to get a response immediately. Instead, the response will come at a later point of time. So that time that you can say as a callback. Okay. That callback, let's say this one is a callback. And when the response comes, so it will have, let's say, on success. So let me show an example with jQuery. $.ajax of something users. Okay. It will ask a success call. So this is actually and you will give a function, right? That means you are not immediately getting the response. You will get a later point of time. That time you will execute this. Okay, alert, the users came, right? So this is going to happen at a later point of time. Correct. There can be error call, there can be success call. But the problem came with Ajax is, let's say after this one, you need to do another code. So where you will write? You have to write it in here, right? $.ajax of again, and then you will do it. So it will be, it is like a callback hell, we'll say. Another uses states. Then again, if you want to do another one, success, then it will keep on going, right? So it will be very difficult to maintain. So instead, what is happening now is this is giving a promise. Promise means a promise will be having a response will anytime. You will get a response. You will get a response for sure. Okay, but it can be either resolved status or it can be a rejected status. Means either it's a success or failure, simple way, right? It can be success or failure. It can be success or failure. Fine. So what this $HTTP return is, that is what promise is. That basically is just nothing more than that. So I am getting a promise. Now I don't need to do like dot success or anything. I can just use like promise and then function I can use. Then means then's first parameter will be success callback and first second parameter will be error callback. So let's say I have another one. Then I can just use dot then. Again I can use something else, some other promise. Like that I can keep on adding another success callback. Okay, so that means it is little bit more easy to write or readable rather than putting it in a callback hell, like in one callback then another callback like that. Instead of that I can put it in this way. So that is the benefit of promise, and that promise is not a concept with only with Angular. Promise is there in every, like lot of promise libraries are already there. So Angular also has a promise of its own. So $HTTP internally is having a promise and it will return a promise. Okay. So that is why we are having a then call. Then call is having again two, either success callback or error callback. So if it is a success, I am showing some other method and all. And if it is an error, I will handle that error and show that this is an error. That is what then is for. I hope that clarifies that. Okay. Okay. Any other questions till this part? Like, I know I've been going very late actually, but very fast. Sorry, I've been going very fast because a lot of things are there and we can anyway do all the things here. Okay, how it is distinct from jQuery? Because the same thing can be done using jQuery. Only the coding less is unique from jQuery. No, it's very different than jQuery in the structure wise. It's not because some functionality, anything which you are seen in Angular, we can do in jQuery. Very correct, you're saying. But the thing is, it's more structured and the code is separated. Let me show you an example in jQuery. Okay, let's say you are using jQuery, and let's say I will give an example. Div. This is an example I normally give for anything. So my container. Okay, you have an example with my container. Button. Click me. And your script is, let's say you have a JavaScript like um, how you will write it in JavaScript. You will write like first you will select it. So let's say you have selected. It may not be a real-time scenario. I'm just giving you like this. So my container in that button. So I'm saying in that on click, do something else. Okay. This is how you will write in jQuery, right? A simple way. This will work. So let's say I'm doing an alert here. This is how you will write a jQuery. So what will happen when I'm clicking on this button? An alert will be popped up. This is working fine. Now later on, what is the problem with this code is in normal slideshow, whatever we are doing, it's okay. But later on, let's say you have designer. Your designer came up. He doesn't know your JavaScript, right? Your JavaScript may be in a separate file. He doesn't even know that. He just came and made the changes. He had some design changes. He made some change like and change the ID to update it. Your complete code is broken now, right? No, your code will not work at all because your selector is based on that, right? Because you selected using my container. So what exactly is showing here? What's showing is here is your view and the code is tightly coupled, right? Tightly coupled view and code, isn't it? So so that whenever you are making a single change it will be affected in HTML or in the vice versa. And second thing is I can write it in a different selectors. I can write it in 10 places, right? I will write it in 10 places. I can say if my button I can say, or different ways I can select, and I don't even know where all I have added the click handler. So let's say you are getting a requirement or a new person joining, and if you are giving some requirement that add a click handler or remove something from the click handler, he needs to search through the complete script everywhere you have written and understand where all you have written the click handler, right? So basically and then third point is, let's say you want to unit test it. When you are adding, you need to add a unit test in jQuery. You need to give the complete HTML structure also. Otherwise, you can't unit test it because jQuery is tightly coupled with the HTML, right? So because of these scenarios only, AngularJS itself came initially. Or the structuring is the most important basic concept of any of these frameworks. Separation of concerns is the main thing. Okay, so here it is separation of concern means view is only handling the the display of the things and all. It's not handling the code or logic or anything. Same way, code is handling only. It's not touching the DOM directly. In case if you want to touch, you will use a custom attribute. That's why we have seen directives and all. Okay. Other than that, so that is why we can't use a jQuery in a JavaScript heavy application, because if you have a lot of JavaScript and it will be very difficult to maintain, right? Because everyone will start writing click handler or any handler in anywhere in the page or anywhere in the script, and you will not even understand where all this is coming up from. That is where this importance of Angular or Backbone or anything is coming up. Is that clear? Okay. Okay. It's easy to learn Angular or tell main functionality? Okay. Yeah, I think that part. Okay. Sorry for that. You have been asking for a long time, right? So I was showing initially. I don't know if you have seen that. I was showing the basic components of Angular. So the base. I will just give a quick recap on that. Main components of Angular is following, first of all, MVC kind of pattern. That is model view controller, and it is things are controllers. View means HTML itself, and then the dollar scope. Okay, dollar scope and services, directives. So these are some of the most important components of AngularJS and modules. Okay, so you can see here. First of all, I have created a module. So module is one thing. Second is created a controller. In that controller, we are attaching any property to the dollar scope. So whatever we are attaching to the dollar scope will be available here, and it can be used. So you can see here a test is being used and a templating is there. For templating, we are using double curly brace and templating is there. So that is a controller. Then directive means a custom component. We can use any. So here you can see my directive, and it's created my directive custom component here. Okay, so that is the thing. Third one is service. So service is like a singleton JavaScript objects only, nothing more than that. And you can use that to generate some function, get some, return some data, that kind of things. You can use services. So these are the main components in AngularJS. And so with that, you can understand that dollar scope is nothing but a glue between the controller and the view. Yeah, this is a very quick thing because it's already shown already, but you can just check that one in the video initial part. You can just check that it's already mentioned. So Sujit is saying jQuery is somewhat straightforward for user interface developers, but Angular seems to be confusing to understand. Okay, since okay. Actually, you don't. So basically, what he's asking is it required to rely on the complete MVC pattern to start AngularJS? Okay. So you don't need to learn completely MVC pattern or anything to learn any framework or JavaScript framework. The main important thing is that you need to understand completely or have more idea on JavaScript. When I'm saying JavaScript, I'm not saying simply about jQuery JavaScript. I'm saying the advanced core concepts of JavaScript also, like object oriented. What is OOPS concepts in JavaScript? Okay, object oriented when you're doing how do you do the inheritance? inheritance and all, how do you do, and all the latest functionalities in the arrays and all, filter, map, all this. So basically, if you are clear on this closure is very important. So these are all the advanced concepts of Angular, sorry, JavaScript, right? This is pure JavaScript I'm talking. If you are clear on the pure JavaScript, then understanding Angular is nothing more than it's normal. If you see most of things, other than dollar scope, and this is just a function. Other than that, everything is a normal function, right? Function or property, right? You are creating a function. In that, what you are doing is up to you. You can create a service. You in that function, you can create an array. You can loop through array, filter an array. Lot of things you can do. But that are all pure JavaScript only. Angular is only connecting these links. That's it. So if you are giving correct name and if you're using that method, whatever they are saying, maybe it's a controller, it's a method, it's a directive, whatever method you are using, you have to use that method and you have to follow naming convention. Other than that, it's just nothing more than normal JavaScript. Hope that clarifies that question. Mm, any other questions? I think we have only 5 more minutes, so we'll just wrap it up with any more questions. Okay. So Sujit is asking about the closure concept, but Sujit, closure it takes some time. I mean, like we can't handle it in 5 minutes. But in our project actually we are doing the course, right? In our course actually we are going through advanced JavaScript concepts. Hope I see you there. Then maybe you can. Okay, basically closure is like a simple way I can say like a function inside a function. So function, if you're writing a function and then you are returning a function. JavaScript means you can write that kind of things. So you can return a function also. So then the inner function will have knowledge about, or it will store all the details in the main parent function. That is a basic concept of closure, but nothing more than that. It will take more time. Okay. Difference between Node.js and AngularJS is Node.js is a server-side JavaScript. That means it is to JavaScript it will compile to a machine-ready language so that you can just compare Node.js with the Java or thing. But AngularJS is just for client-side JavaScript structuring. Okay, and the course details and all, the Abhinav and other people will be getting in touch with you, so you can get all the details. Um, how efficient is Firebase compared to other backend? Can Firebase handle? Yeah, Firebase can handle large, but like they have in the free session, like they have free accounts are there. In free accounts, they are giving the limit, but they can handle large actually. But the package you need to change. With that package, you can even get a lot of handling lot of that. Okay, Node.js and AngularJS, which is good to learn. Actually, Node.js and AngularJS completely separate, as I already told you. And AngularJS is like actually you have to learn both in my suggestion. Because if you know JavaScript, you can easily learn both. At least you have to have some basic idea on both. It's good actually because both are gaining a lot of momentum. So it's good to learn both in a way. And sorry, one thing I forgot to, um, yeah. One thing is like you can get in touch with Acad Guild. I think you can see this one. So sorry, uh, from current slide. Okay, sorry. Yeah, you can see this one, right? Um, so you can get in contact using. Uh, uh, okay. So, are you able to see the screen? This one. Okay. So there is a website. Acad Guild website is there. Then LinkedIn.com and Acad Guild. Fine. Yeah. Yeah, you will get all the details, all the materials, everything you will get, and everything you will be contacted later, and you will get all the details. Okay, is mean stack covered in? Yes, mean stack is covered actually. We'll be focusing in the front end development section. We'll be covering Angular and Node.js actually, the complete course. Uh, yeah, thanks everyone. I think um, simple example on JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript simple example means like a lot of things. What exactly you are looking for actually. Maybe we can cover that later, like in the application we can cover. Okay. Yeah, actually in Java front-end development we have our basic JavaScript, then advanced JavaScript. All the things are being covered, and you can get all the details in the website also, and you can contact people, and they will also contact you, and you will get all the details, right? Um, okay. Thanks everyone. Thanks so much for your time attending. I know it might be a little confusing for people like it is. We are going in a very fast way, but thanks for staying with me. Thanks so much. Bye.